sometimes it's fun to follow trends, and the reason I like to do it is because it usually lets me try something I'm not real familiar with, and so I get more chance to experiment. So today I'm doing a quinoa salad. In fact, it's a quinoa vegetable salad for you. So I've already cooked my quinoa and got it ready to go because it is going to be a salad and I wanted it to be cool before I started. But quinoa looks like this. It's a very tiny, it goes in the grain category. It's actually a seed, and when it's cooked, you can actually see some little curlicues coming out around it, almost like bands. So there's a little bit of the uncooked and the cooked sitting together. It's also very tiny, so it gets away from you really, really fast. It's a complete protein, and that's part of the reason that it's so popular. It allows people who are vegan or vegetarian to include more protein in their diets. But that's also a plus for the rest of us who enjoy a good piece of meat or chicken or fish. So I've got 1 cup of quinoa that I cooked. That means I've added 2 cups of water to it and proceeded from there to let it cook 15-20 minutes, whatever the package says. Now the question on quinoa is, do you need to rinse it before you cook? And the answer is maybe. If the package that you purchase says it's pre-washed, then you don't have to wash it. The reason that you're washing it is because it grows in high altitudes, and so it's developed this defensive mechanism, which is a coating on each of those seeds of a compound called saponin. That saponin works very well to keep the sun's rays out, but it's bitter or soapy, depending on how you perceive it. Some people one and some people the other. And so we want to rinse it off before we consume it. So if someone else has done it for you, because it's water soluble, it goes away. If you end up having to wash it yourself, put it in a sieve, use your fingers to stir it around. It's water soluble, but it likes a little bit of agitation in order to move itself off a little bit more quickly. Then put it in a bowl and basically cook it like rice, which means you can cook it in your rice cooker if you've got one, and that may free you up if you're a little unsure about cooking, the timing, the scorching, and some things like that in a pan. Cooking it in a rice cooker if you've got one works great. Just use the same proportions you do when you cook white rice, which is 2 parts water, 1 part quinoa in this case, and follow the directions on your rice cooker and you'll be good. All right, so we've got basically 3 cups of quinoa here. I'm going to make a dressing for this that is going to involve a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, about a half a teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. If you'd like some lemon juice, a little squirt of lemon juice, maybe a 1/4 of a teaspoon would be nice here as well. And then about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. We're just going to whisk those together a little bit, and once you get this started, this is not going to be a full suspension by the time we add the lemon juice or the olive oil. I've got 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. So we're going to whisk this in slowly. We do have a couple of things that are going to help us keep this from going out of solution, and one of those, or break the emulsion, one of those would be the dry mustard. Is going to be the biggest help on that. So just finish whisking that together. And then we're ready to add the other ingredients. This is really fairly quick. You can do it ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm adding a half a cup of cucumber. If your cucumber skin is tough, peel it first. If you've got really big seeds in it, you may want to seed it as well. If you use a young cucumber, you may not need to do either of those things. The same with an English cucumber, you may not need to do either of those things. You're going to put in a 1/4 of a cup of chopped green pepper, about 2 tablespoons of chopped onion, and then this was 12 black olives. The black olive of your choice is what's going in here, the one you either have or the one you like the most. If it's pitted, obviously you're going to pit it, and then chop it down from there. Re-whisk our dressing, pour it over the top, and then we're simply going to stir these together a little bit. It's a pretty tough salad. The grains are pretty sturdy. Some people will toast quinoa a little bit, either in a dry pan or a pan with a little bit of oil before they start cooking it. If you choose to do that, if you do it in oil, remember that you've added that oil and subtract the oil later on. Otherwise it tends to be a little bit greasy. It's usually around somewhere between a teaspoon and a tablespoon that gets used. All right, this is it. Quinoa vegetable salad. really good for a nice summer meal. Again, it's a complete protein, so it can be the meal if you choose. I hope you'll try it. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.